Warning. This video may contain spoilers for Rain World. Welcome to the second part of the Rain World room tier list. In this series, I will rate all the rooms in Rain World, region at a time. Let's get straight into it as I already explained the slug cat and such in the previous video. Today's region is Industrial Complex. It's usually the second region the slug cats go to and Watcher starts its journey here. It has 74 rooms, including 5 karma gates, and it has 124 screens, which barely puts it above Outskirts in room count. It used to have less, but Watcher added 21 new rooms. I would say this region is slightly harder than Outskirts on average, mostly because of the room with the red lizard and more characters having science. The color pearl here is bright blue, and Spearmaster has 2 broadcasts, one of them being blue. More on that later. I accidentally cut out what lineages mean in the last video, so I'll quickly explain. Lineage is a mechanic where creatures you kill have a chance of getting replaced by different, usually stronger, creatures on a following cycle. If the chance fails, it will either not respawn or a different creature of the same type will take its place. I think it's pretty interesting that Hunter specifically has a vulture lineage. Every slug cat has the same pre-cycle spawns, though I think Watcher and for sure Saint don't have pre-cycles. Still, they're defined for them, and if one were to happen, these creatures would appear. As usual, Saint's Blizzard summons Miros vultures. Let's start with the Karma Gate. Gate SUHI is a Karma Gate that connects Outskirts and Industrial Complex. You need 3 Karma to enter from Outskirts and 2 to enter from Industrial. The minimum Karma is 1, so it's quite easy to get through here. As Artificer starts with 1 max Karma, you need to carry a dead scavenger here. Artificer can borrow Scavenger's Karma, so it is required to use Karma Gates. This gate is quite useful, so I'll give it a B. HIBO4 is a double screen room that's not available to Watcher. The song that plays here is either the iconic Bioengineering, Sheer Ice Torment, or if you're coming from Outskirts, BMHI Gate. The first 2 appear in a later room too. It has good food with 1 to 2 popcorn plants and dead vulture grubs. All omnivores and carnivores can eat them for a full food pip each, though they're already dead, so Spearmaster cannot do anything with them. It's very easy to get out of bounds in this room. I like this place. Put it in B tier. HIBO4W is Watcher's version of BO4. It has 3 screens instead of the usual 2. It combines the food of the normal version, as it has 2 of both now. Otherwise, it is identical. We'll talk about the Watcher exclusive part of this region at the end. It keeps the reasons why I like BO4, so it'll get a B too. HISO3 is a small shelter. There really isn't much room to breathe here. This shelter is permanently broken as the carnivores and Saint, so half the characters can't even use it. It is a good shelter for new players though, as it's one of the first things they see when entering Industrial. There's also a popcorn plant that will always allow them to use this one. Pretty good design, I think. For experienced players, it is kind of redundant as SO1 exists, which is also available as all slug cats, so I'll put this one in C tier. HIB12 is a double screen room. There's a new creature, the egg bug. I didn't cover it last time, so let's get to it. Egg bugs are bugs that carry eggs. If they die, they release all 6 of these eggs, which any slug cat with a mouth can eat for a food pip. Even Saint can eat them, but egg bugs have gone extinct by the time its campaign happens. As Spearmaster has no mouth, it'll instead absorb all the eggs for 3 food pips total when it hits the egg bug with one of its special spears. This means egg bugs killed by other sources are useless to Spearmaster. Egg bugs are afraid of just about all creatures, and they will attempt to dodge thrown objects, so they can be hard to kill. As usual, spore puffs will kill insects, though there aren't many places where the 2 meet. The room has a death pit on the left. Lizards in the next room will often wander here, so going up can be challenging as there is only one path. I'm a fan of rooms like this where there is a death pit on one side. You'll get a B for that reason. HIB13 is a double screen room, though the bottom screen only has the pipe. Like I said, the pink or the yellows will often go to the previous room, so usually you can eat the batflies in peace. Vultures like this room, so they may attack, but it's easy to hide from them here. Here's a simple lineage. I like this room. Into B tier it goes. HIA15 is a single screen room that's shaped like a rotated T. Okay. D tier. HIA20 is a single screen room with a calmer flower. I also made a slug pup here as survivor. This one was named Crimbler, made survive for a long time. Other than that, the room is not interesting to me. C tier. HISO1 is an average shelter. I see it as a better SO3, as I'd say it's in a slightly better position because it's slightly further into the region. It works as every slug cat, and there is a camouflage just outside. I think there's a better shelter in this region still, but this one is pretty good. B tier. HIA14 is a single screen room. Not much happens around here. The yellows might come here saying, but that's about it. Let's put it in C tier. HIA37 is a single screen room. This is the other room where bioengineering can play. Saint will here share Ice Torment instead. There are some blue fruit for you to enjoy and Saint might see the yellows, but it's another one screen room that's inside and you know how I feel about those. Another C tier. HICO2 is a triple screen room. It's not as good as SUCO2, but it's fine. The pink and the green will often be fighting, but all the fruit are near them. If you came here through A14, you can completely ignore the bottom two screens. There isn't much there anyway, though it does have an alternative path to the garbage waste gate. We will get to that later. I do enjoy bigger rooms, so I'll put it in B tier. HIBO8 is a double screen room. There is a bright blue pearl here. Let's see. Looks to the moon says this. It's a production record of a mask factory, for what seems to be its last time in service. Have you ever seen a bone mask? Likely not, they are all gone with their owners. In ancient times, the masks were actually about showing spiritual persuasion, covering the face as a way to symbolically abate the self. Then of course, that was quite subverted as excessively ornate and lavish masks became an expression of identity. Some public persons did have problems with narrow doorways. Originally monks in the temple would make the mask using bone plaster, and when the production was automated it would generally remain on the same side, so that the old stones could radiate the material with holiness, I suppose. This is from one such facility called Side House, which was here on Pebbles grounds. In the iterative world, many old industrial religious sites like this were remodeled and incorporated. I think this one was made to provide pellets of holy ash to Pebbles, but knowing him he probably hasn't used much of it. Well, 5 Pebbles says. This is a production log of a facility on the surface. It has been a very long time since I've cared about reading one, but the name roughly translates as Side House. I remember the shipments of holy ash I used to receive from there. I don't know how I would gain access to holy ash in the present day, not that I have much use for it. Despite all the independent power of my machinery, the relationship I had with my creatures was a mutually symbiotic one. I was built to provide for them, but there was also much I relied on them to provide to me. Their absence has made things harder. I suppose the only gifts I receive now are pearls and such from your kind. The room also has a regular pearl. I do think it's worth noting parts of this room look like a conveyor belt, which lines up with what Moon said. Other than that, not too much happens here, other than a cyan or a blue lizard sometimes coming here. I do think the conveyor belt detail is cool enough to bring it to a B. HICO1 is a triple screen room. The bottom screen has many tunnels, while the middle is filled with platforms and poles. The various lizards here will go around the place, so you have to use the poles or the pipes to avoid them. At the top you can find a pearl. I like all the different spawns here and the lineage is pretty cool too. Seeing a 7% chance is strange, but it's still kind of interesting. I'll give it a B. HIBO2 is a double screen room. There is some food here and, more importantly, a wide broadcast. Let's tune in. Live broadcast. Private, 7 red zones, no significant harassment. It's pretty clear to me who you're talking about, though I won't say who, out of respect. Please don't mock me, this is serious. The fact is, he really looked up to me. As much as I gave him a hard time, that's not something I took lightly. You're not the only one worried about him. I understand your position, but blaming yourself isn't productive. I understand that, I truly do. At this point we need to be taking action. I agree, but unfortunately there isn't much that we can do being locked up in a box. Even less so that he's cut off all communication and is rejecting all help from the outside world. That may not be an issue, necessarily. I've already set a certain plan in motion. The contents of this white broadcast depend on how many white broadcasts you've gotten. This room also has a noodlefly egg, the only one in this region. It is slightly interesting and most characters don't have noodleflies in this region. I'll give this room a B, though a low one. Not like that really matters as rooms aren't sorted within tiers. HIBO3 is a double screen room. This is the only room in the region that has beehives. They activate when a creature gets close and many small bugs attack. They stick you to surfaces for a bit, leaving you very vulnerable. Spore pups will pacify beehives that haven't been activated, which allows you to grab them and use them later. There isn't much else to do in this room. Some lizards might come here and vultures like it, not much else. The lineage is kinda funny though, 2 100% chances. If you spend enough time here, it is very likely to actually see the cyan. C tier. HICO4 is a triple screen room. It's very unique. The top has some platforms and a hole in the middle. If you fall down this hole, you will fall on some water at the bottom. Only Saint can climb back up, so if you fall you have to take a big detour to get back up. There are 3 new creatures, but I'll only cover one of them. Lantern will come when I cover the region they're native to. Snails are small creatures that appear near water. If they are threatened, they will shake until eventually popping. This pop stuns nearby creatures. It's a lot stronger if it happens underwater. They're very useful for getting rid of creatures that are attached to you, like leeches. They can also be used as stun grenades. Snails keep their popping ability when killed. The other creatures are eel lizards. They usually spawn during pre-cycles, but some water regions also have them. Every eel lizard has the same exact teal color. They prefer to stay in water, but they have the ability to climb poles and walls. They are not very fast outside of water as they only have 2 limbs. Underwater, they are very fast and they have great vision compared to other lizards. Combat underwater is harder than on land, but if you manage to lure it out, it can easily be killed with about 2 spears. This is a very good room. I love that it has 2 very different paths to it. There's some food at the bottom in the form of bubble fruit, which you must pop using water before you can eat it. Rivulet's world is so wet it can open them up by just holding them. Here's the lineage. It's interesting that it has 7 steps, which might be the longest lineage in the game. Of course, I haven't checked every region yet, so there might be longer ones, but I doubt it. A tier for this room. HIBO6 is a double screen room. It's one of the most memorable industrial rooms, I think. It's the one with the patrolling red lizards as most characters. If that wasn't bad enough, there's also cyan lizards here, and in nearby rooms up at the Gourmand. I do really like the spawns here visually. It's cool seeing almost every character have unique lizards here. It also shows the way lizards tend to evolve with time. Starts with ferocious beasts, goes to less dangerous ones, while caramels and yellows appear at the end. Gourmand found a slug pup here, who was named Angus. It looks a lot like the Survivor, which is kind of cool considering they're right after each other in the timeline. Lucky coincidence. Here's the lineage. I think this room is quite good. It is also very dangerous for those who have cyans and reds. The jump to get up is also kind of strange and I usually need a spear to do it, even though in the past I've done it without trouble, without a spear. Skill difference, I suppose. I'll give it another A, even if the tunnel at the top can very easily lead to deaths that feel unfair. HIA11 is a single screen room. This might be the room my Discord server knows the best. The name looks like hi all, so it's a funny greeting sticker. I love the fact that everyone has access to it, so it truly is a hello to everyone. Other than that, the room doesn't have much going on. Some lizards, mostly cyan or white, might come here. There is also some fruit. I'll give it a B just for the funny name. HIA10 is a single screen room. Not much spawns here, though lizards and vultures will often appear. It's simple, but I like it. B tier. HISO5 is an average shelter. A white lizard slipped in when I hibernated here as Gourmand, and it immediately attacked Angus when we woke up. Luckily, Gourmand deals great damage, so the lizard was immediately killed. I have seen a white come here before too, so it's something you should be aware of. The shelter is in a slightly awkward spot, but I do think it's the best shelter in the region. Despite this, I don't think it's A tier worthy. It'll get B tier. HIC11 is a triple screen room. Going up leads to the chimney canopy karma gate. If you do not wish to go there, you can simply walk right instead. As the shelter is right next door, the lizards will usually still be here by the time you come. The cyan might spot you on its way out, so be careful. There's also a blue token for vulture grubs here. I like the little tunnel area. It can also get pretty chaotic here. There is this lineage here where it's not too unlikely to accidentally spawn another cyan. I'll give it a B. HIBO9 is a double screen room. This one has pretty interesting spawns. I like all the different variations. There is a popcorn plant at the top for some food, though it may be hard to get to with all the lizards and vultures going around. Going under the surface, there are some paths you can take. I think it's pretty cool. I crafted a legendary double bat spear as Artificer, B tier. HIBO7 is a double screen room. Here I got the idea to tame lizards as monk, as it doesn't get slug pups. Taming is a mechanic where you can give lizards food, and if you do it enough, they start to like you and follow you around, protecting you from danger. Feeding them also increases lizard reputation in general, so lizards might start ignoring you if your reputation is good. Monk has a lot easier time with the reputation related mechanics. The pink lizard I tamed here was named Cho'Gath. Scavengers are still hostile to lizards even if they're tamed, so it can be quite disastrous. Anyway, the room is nice enough for another B. HIB14 is a double screen room. Not too much going on here. There is a conveyor belt. I do not think it elevates the room to a B like BO8, so I'll put this one in C. HIDO1 is a 4 screen room. It is the largest room in this region. Most characters will not see anything spawn here, but vultures and especially scavengers will often show up. There are 3 devious blue fruit here, which is really funny. Only Saint can realistically reach them. I had some funny experiences in this room. Watcher had a showdown with the Sudden Cyan Lizard, and Gorman had an encounter with a King Vulture. Surprisingly, Artificer met no scavengers. It is very fortunate as the room is very flat, so scavengers can easily throw spears from off screen. I'll give this room a B. HIC13 is a triple screen room. Going this way leads to Shaded Citadel. There are balls and 2 tokens. One is blue and it gives the cherry bomb unlock for an arena, and a yellow token. I'll talk about the arena rooms when I do the arena tier list. I think the room is pretty boring, so it gets a C. HISO6 is a small shelter. There's definitely not a lot of space with Cho'Gath also sleeping here. The karma requirement to go to Shady is 5, so this shelter can be useful. That one does have a shelter in it too, so if you have 5 karma, you can skip this one. I'll give this one C tier, as I think the shelter on the other side of the gate is more useful most of the time. I did think Cho'Gath would be stuck here as he cannot climb walls, but he made it out. HICO3 is a triple screen room. Going to the left on the top to go back to A11 is not possible as most characters. Well, maybe it is with some advanced movement tricks, but I'm not that guy. The climb to the top from the bottom does look kind of cool, but to be honest, I've never done it. I've always just jumped down or made the jump from the left to the right. The blue fruit at the bottom is really hard to get without a spear. There's also a blue token that gives you access to infant and adult centipedes. Here's the lineage. Very simple. I'll give this room a B. HIB15 is a double screen room. It is the centipede room. They will never remove this room as they're set to stay here. I think it's a cool room. It was the only room with centipedes in this region until Downpour came, so it's less unique now. Still, it gets a B. Good food can be found here. HIAO4 is a single screen room. I think it's very funny the pole mimic gets replaced by a whole red lizard. As it's right next to the centipede room, the lizard might just clear up some of them. Otherwise there is not much here other than this lineage. Awesome. C tier. HIA26 is a single screen room. There's a vulture grub that is alive, so let's talk about it. Vulture grubs are small wormy creatures. They don't do anything on their own except to wriggle around. If you grab one and throw it, it will start to signal the sky with its laser to summon a vulture. If it succeeds, the grub will flash green and a vulture will appear. Otherwise it will flash red. You can also summon king vultures and Miros vultures if they're in the region. Vulture grubs must be killed before they can be eaten. The room itself is filled with tunnels. It's like BO5 except less interesting. You might see some scavengers here, but that's about it. C tier. HIBO5 is a double screen room. So it has 3 whole science here, which is kind of crazy. I did tame a white lizard here as monk, but I don't know what happened to it. It did not get along well with Cho'Gath. What a shame. I don't have many thoughts on the room itself. Not too fond of it. C tier. HIC14 is a triple screen room. It has big towns and some spears. There is some nice graffiti in the middle screen, I suppose. Not much else to say as nothing spawns here. Most you'll see are some rare lizard or scavengers. C tier. HIC14 is a triple screen room exclusive to non-watchers, so you're not allowed to see it. Sorry. Though there isn't much to be seen. It's not like C14. This room was added in Downpour and it actually follows the naming system. I am impressed. The most exciting thing that happens here was Artificer encountering some scavengers. Another C tier. HIC15W is Watcher's version of C15. It's kind of interesting. If you don't have downpour enabled, this room will not show up. It makes sense, but it's kind of cool they made a room that needs both DLC despite them not really interacting otherwise. Anyway, the room is a C15 except it has rot. I'll give it a B as I think it's cool to see a rare case of the two DLC interacting. HI828 is a single screen room. The karma gate connected to this room leads to Pipe Yard. Otherwise, it's just a pretty boring room. Unnecessary evil, if you will. C tier. HI822 is a single screen room. It is a blue token for a blue lizard. That's it. Chuck it in the C tier. HIA16 is a single screen room. It's not very interesting, though scavengers will often be here fighting the lizards. I did see something cool. During a pre-cycle, inside rooms might get flooded. A cyan lizard came here doing it and it actually drowned. Can't say I've seen lizards drown very often. Anyway, it's okay. C tier. HI827 is a single screen room. This one is a scavenger's treasury, which is a room that has all kinds of useful things. Any of these items have a chance of appearing, though this particular room also has at least 5 pearls. If a scavenger spots you grabbing an item, you lose reputation if it's not high enough. If no scavenger out there, you can freely grab anything. I don't really feel anything for scavenger treasuries, so I'll give it a C. HI825 is a single screen room. This hazer here is alive. Hazers are squids. They can swim, but almost none of them spawn in water. On land, they don't really do anything other than look around with their big eye. They can be thrown to someone a smoke screen, which blocks line of sight. After doing this, they die. They can be eaten to gain a food pip. The carnivores can use the hazer to avoid the drop wig if they come here from CO4. Not much else to say about this room. Another C. HI821 is a single screen room. Nothing really happens here. I did have an eel lizard come here and kill me, which resulted in 2 karma flowers. Kind of funny. I like the graffiti in the background, but the room is smaller than some shelters, so I don't really care for it. C tier. HISO2 is a small shelter. It is in the middle of the region, but I think it's worse than SO5, as you have to fall down in CO4 to enter this one. It's not too hard to get back up, but the bottom part of CO4 can be pretty dangerous, and that's the only way out. It is nice that there is a carnival right outside, so I'll still give it a B, but SO5 stays the best shelter in my opinion. HIA17 is a single screen room. There's probably a green lizard roaming around here, even as non-carnivores, as A16 is a green lizard spawn too. It's pretty easy to avoid considering how clumsy they are. Otherwise the room isn't anything special. Another one for the C tier. HIA17W is Watcher's version of A17. The rot tentacles on the right side of the room are actually pretty dangerous, so you have to crouch under them to not get caught. Creatures fear the rot, so if any creatures happen to come here, they likely won't stay long. It is more interesting than A17, but not enough for B tier, so C it is. HIA23 is a single screen room. It's nothing crazy. Creatures rarely come here, so it's mostly for collecting the pearl or going back to CO2. I like a little environmental storytelling here, as the pearl gets replaced by a lantern. It is pretty useful as Saint if you wish to have another lantern, though the treasure is nearby, so you could go there too. C tier for this room. HIA18 is a single screen room. These and the following rooms are not available to Watcher, as the way here in A17 is rotted. The music that plays here is called Mist Engine. There is a blue broadcast here, Spearmaster. Colored broadcasts always contain the same messages. Let's take a listen. Live broadcast. Private gazing stars. Secluded instinct. Have you heard the rumors unparalleled innocence has been spreading? I've only heard bits and pieces, but I'd love to hear more. They say that an iterator got the rot, and they have it bad. That's terrible. Did they mess up an experiment? It is believed so, yes. Everyone is trying to contact him to find out what happened. Who is it anyway? It's 5 Pebbles, the one near looks to the moon. Isn't she his senior? Enough to the point where she calls herself Big Sister Moon? What about asking her? Contact was lost with her as well. We still don't know what happened. This reminds me of the gossip from a while back with erratic pulse. Did we ever hear back from him? Nope. I can't wait to. All this gossiping really makes the cycles passing less dull. True, but don't we all have a job to do? I suppose so. The green lizard here will never be able to return if it goes back to A17 or the next room. The first time I recorded all the rooms in this region, I found 4 vultures here. They all have the usual co-op colors, which is really cool. I think it's a cool room. B tier. HICO5 is a triple screen room. It is kind of interesting that carnivores have no spawns here. The greens or caramels from the nearby rooms will often come here though. It can be pretty chaotic with the lizards and vultures patrolling around. I like that. B tier. HIAO6 is a single screen room. The spawns here are quite interesting. Hunter not sharing the spawns with the other carnivores doesn't happen very often. Other than that, there isn't much to say. There's a red token here and it's significantly easier to obtain than the one in outskirts. The lizards, if they haven't gone to a previous room, are easy to avoid with the balls. See it here. HIA24 is a single screen room. Nothing ever happens here. See it here. HISO4 is an average shelter. It's similar to SO6 in the way that there is another shelter on the other side of the karma gate. The karma requirement of this gate is 2 on both sides, so I think this shelter is less useful than SO6. I can't really remember the last time I came to industrial from garbage wastes, but this shelter would be better if you do that. I'll give it a C tier because it is at least usable and the game is probably better for it existing. HIA19 is a single screen room. There are some garbage worms here. Garbage worms are large worms. They have one purpose in life, stealing your spears. That's all they do normally. If you attack them, they will turn hostile. Their eyes become red and they push you around. They might even try to drown you if there's water nearby. They cannot be killed and they mostly spawn in garbage wastes. This room leads to a garbage waste gate, so it makes sense the worms are here. There's also a garbage waste signature, murky water and orange pipe indicators. I'll give this one a C as not much happens here. That's where it ends for most slug cats, but Watcher is not like the most. It has an exclusive area called Hydroponics and it starts its journey there. Unlike the cave section of Outskirts, this area simply does not exist for others. You can come back to it if you use some spears to climb up the wall in BO4W. They will be covered in the order I went through them starting from said room. HIWO2 is a single screen room. My friend Python said it looks like a slug cat or a stimpy. Nothing else happens here. Let's start with a C tier. HIWO1 is a single screen room. I do not have any thoughts on it. Vultures avoid it and nothing spawns there other than at least 3 spears. It's just kind of flat. C tier. HIWO4 is a double screen room. A single dropwig spawns here. Climbing to the top here might be a bit challenging, but considering how Watcher probably wants to leave this place rather than go back in, it's not too relevant. I feel neutral towards it, so it gets a C. HIWO5 is a single screen room. There's nothing here, though perhaps that will change with time. For now though, it's just a small room. C tier. HIWO6 is a single screen room. This one is a scavenger treasure just like A27, though as far as I know Watcher doesn't get electric spears, so they're not available here. There are also no guaranteed pearls. It's just another treasure, so C tier. HIWO3 is a single screen room. It has 2 areas depending on which room you enter it from. The bottom area is just a walkway, but the top area has a karma flower. There is a blue fruit in the walls, but it's not obtainable in any way, so it's not included. Another C tier. HIW17 is a triple screen room. The top has some platforms. If you fail to jump between them, you might have to climb all the way back. Something about this room feels, I don't know, janky? Unfinished? I don't know how to describe it. I think it's mostly the bottom screens having those blocky walls. I don't think it's a bad thing though. It gives a unique personality. I'll give it a B. HIW18 is a single screen room. It has some tunnels and pink grass. I like the vibes of this one. The grass really adds to it. B tier. HIW12 is a 4 screen room. It ties with DO1 on the largest room in the industrial complex. It has plenty of creatures, including an eel lizard doing pre-cycles. As far as I know, Watcher doesn't get pre-cycles, so I don't think it can ever spawn. The room is pretty neat. I like the water bricks that are on the ground. There is a lineage here, but it's very simple. I'll give this room a B. HIW now is a triple screen room. It remembers SUBO9 with the block in the middle. I don't really like it. Something about it makes me feel sad. I cannot describe why I feel that way exactly, but I'll give it a D. HIW16 is a single screen room. It is so very small. The wall jumping is pretty evil with a random hole on the right side, but there are some guaranteed spears, so you can just make poles. Otherwise, it's nothing special. C tier. HIW15 is a single screen room. I'm still a fan of these types of rooms. The ones that hang off a wall. The lineage is pretty funny, as the pink can turn back into a pink. B tier for this room. HIWSO1 is a small shelter. It does look kind of neat, but it's very missable. I did not find this one on my Watcher playthrough, and it's right next to where Watcher spawns anyway. It's pretty useless, so I think I'll give it a D. HIW13 is a single screen room. It has one blue fruit and that's it. C tier. HIW14 is a double screen room. This is where Watcher starts its journey. It's similar to SUBO4, but it could never be the same. C tier. HIW11 is a single screen room. It has some pillars and tunnels. It's pretty good. B tier. HIW19 is a single screen room. It has some water and a blue fruit. I was surprised to learn that a lizard spawns here because the room is very small. I'll put it in C tier. HIW07 is a triple screen room. It has blocks on poles and some water at the bottom. There are also 3 greens which are very easy to avoid. If you try to get the spears on the ground, it is likely that a garbage worm will steal it. I like the pillars in the background in the middle, so I'll give it a B. And that's all the rooms in Industrial Complex. Here's a full list for the region. Pretty good. Here's also the full list so far. Overall, I think Industrial Complex is better than Outskirts, but it is not good enough for A tier. Well, that's all I have to say for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.